2 steps back, everybody. Folks, just 2 steps back. Thank you so much.
I'll be out of your way.
No, we're going to get started here. So I think there's enough time right now. Zephyr, what's going on?
Speak to the hand. The Cuomo Teachout Democratic primary coming to a somewhat, I'd say, very awkward conclusion this weekend. This the scene on Saturday where Teachout went over to Cuomo. You can see it there for yourself at the Labor Day parade, only to be blocked by a Cuomo aide, Joe Percoco. Dominic knows the feeling. Cuomo, he would later say, I know she was at the parade, but I didn't get a chance to talk to her. Yeah, right. Okay. Don, we've seen this before. Percoco can box out, apparently.
Yes, we've seen it before, but the governor really embarrassed himself this time. Why? Why was it? Come on, Governor, you're smoother than that. You're the governor of the state of New York.
It didn't look right.
Hello, candidate Teachout. Good luck on Tuesday. Even throwing a line about, I'm sorry that my campaign could not work it out for a debate. But you know,
I'm standing right in front of you. I'm right here. I'm right here.
All he did was give her some bit of legitimacy, and he may have actually driven up her numbers for Tuesday with that antic. And you got your henchman standing there. I mean, it's outright. Yeah. This is the Andrew Cuomo that got him in trouble when he ran against McCall.
Yeah.
Right there in front of you.
By the way,
right in front of you.
It's not like she's 5'0". Teachout's almost like not eye level with her, but you can't miss her.
Right, you can't miss her.
It was bad. Little blurb, or is it just kind of speak to a bigger problem for him?
You know,
I'm talking with the left.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with Dominic more. It was such a flub on the governor's part. What possibly could he get out of doing that? He's rude to this woman running against him who's beloved on the left side of the Democratic Party. If it drives up his numbers, or her numbers rather, he's going to kick himself. I mean, long term, it's not going to have that much impact, but it just looks like that old Andrew Cuomo that people get frustrated with. He's been ignoring her this entire race. He could have at least, when she's face to face with him, said, hello, how are you?
You know,
It is the most awkward, funny video I've ever seen.
Now, we have obviously seen yesterday it's not doing him any favors, but another reason that Teachout may do a little bit better than people, including yours truly, expected tomorrow is the ongoing Moreland Commission. Now you say, okay, I heard Rich. Well, take a listen to this. A former special counsel to that anti-corruption commission blasted the governor for his not just perceived, but from his vantage point, outright meddling here. John S. Martin wrote the following. This was in the Daily Kos today. The person who disappointed me most during my time in the commission was Governor Andrew Cuomo. He said the level of the governor's interference was more pervasive than press accounts suggest, and adding, what I observed showed me what little regard Governor Cuomo and his senior staff have for the press, the public, and people with integrity who work in government. Their disdain for ethics colors the way that they govern the entire state. Now, I don't know if this guy's got baggage or if this guy's got an axe to grind with the governor, but it kind of, Andrew, there's this like loop feed. You know, you take these little stories in isolation, even a small one, Jeff Klein, right? The guy who couldn't figure out whatever party was in but kind of ran the Senate with a few other guys. Governor endorses him while there was a progressive alternative Capel there. Again, nobody really cares. I know this, except it's just, it fits into this thing that he looks at for number one, first, second, and third.
And the irony is that the Moreland thing isn't something that just inherently plays to the progressive left, so it's not, that by itself wouldn't necessarily fuel Teachout's primary challenge. It's just the frustration that's combined. You have the progressive frustration that Cuomo hasn't done enough for the left, especially fiscally, combined with this, where he said that he was going to come into office and be the guy who cleaned up the swamp, and he hasn't been that. Although the similarity that I found in both, nothing to see here.
Yeah.
It's a nothing to see here attitude when it comes to stuff that doesn't help Andrew Cuomo.
But here's one thing about these people coming out, you know, in the 9th hour, the 10th hour, 11th hour on these things. Where were these people when the interference was going on?
100%
None of them stood up and said, this is a problem, until the U.S. attorney got involved. And I find that very frustrating. If you really were so incensed by this, why didn't you stand up? You were a commissioner on this thing. You let it go forward. You never said a word.
Special counsel.
Or special counsel. You can hold a press conference. You can tell people. And you have several people who did none of that. It's frustrating.
You know, one thing on the personality politics of this, Dominic, is we saw this, it's different in Jersey than here. Nobody, even his critics, don't suggest that Andrew Cuomo is competent. I mean, you get budgets on time in New York, in Albany, herding cats. He gets the job done.
You mean nobody suggests he's incompetent?
Incompetent, I'm sorry, excuse me. So, but if you bully or if you treat it like I don't have to talk to anybody, I don't have to debate anybody, I make my rules, I'm going to do it my way, anyone gets in the way, I'm going to publicly crush you, it always comes home to roost, it seems. Like, if there's a problem, nobody's standing up there getting your back. You're seeing this, we saw it certainly in Jersey, you're seeing it a little bit now with Cuomo, where these little stories by themselves would have been forgotten. But when they build up a little bit, it must be, I don't know, interesting, but I don't hear one supporter coming to the governor's defense for all this stuff.
But you know what I find interesting, Richard? I give the governor credit that he was able to hide it this long. Because anyone that knows Andrew Cuomo, right, knows that, I mean, look at what he did against Carl McCall. You know, oh, you want to be the first black governor? Well, get behind me, buddy, because I want to be governor, and I'm going to be the nominee, and I don't care if you paid your time and waited your turn. This is classic Andrew Cuomo. I mean, voters, you know, voters went along with this for a while. His poll numbers sky high. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But the governor has created somewhat of a bad situation for himself. That video is horrible. I mean, to know Andrew Cuomo is to know that's exactly what he would do. You know, exactly. But why? I'm going back to the video now. Why would you do that, Governor? You got a U.S. attorney looking into your administration, and the U.S. attorney is also going to see that video. And I mean, just shake her hand, Governor. I mean, what is going on in his mind that justifies
the Percoco? We know. Talk about a guy with a thankless gig. Think about it. He's like, oh God, I got to shadow her now. I got to box her out. I can't let her get it. It just looks bad on a lot of levels. All right, now. Coming up next, despite the financial woes that casinos are facing in New Jersey, developers are pushing to get their proposals through for new casinos in New York. You've heard this story, but we're going to ask somebody who's right on the front lines of this fight here. In fact, we'll be making the case in Albany tomorrow that her casino and also her location's the best bet here is that casinos are good business for New York to get into. The president of Communications for Caesars is going to tell us why she's behind one project. We'll hear from her after this.